In pop music, a great song isn't always enough. Timing, marketing, and label decisions can make or break even the most perfect record. In this video, we'll look at 8 songs that could have been #1 with better promotion. Love on the Brain by Rihanna. By the time Love on the Brain arrived as a 4th single from Anti, Rihanna was already deep into her album rollout. The song was vintage and vocally stunning, a soulful ballad that could have existed in any decade. Love on the Brain showed that emotional vulnerability fans hadn't seen since Stay. It was the kind of timeless song that cuts across genres, and it had one of Rihanna's best vocal performances ever. It quickly became a fan favorite, showing off a side of her that went beyond club anthems and radio bangers. Yet despite the organic love, the single's rollout was delayed. After Work, Kiss It Better, and Needed Me all competed for attention. Her label seemed unsure of what to focus on. Love on the Brain was released as a single months after initial radio traction began, when it started building momentum organically. It also had no official music video that turned it into a cultural moment. Rihanna's most vocally impressive single in years arrived without strategy to match its strength. Even with limited support, Love on the Brain climbed to #5 on the Billboard Hot 100, powered almost entirely by her fans. Had it been prioritized earlier, it might have been her 15th #1. Her performance of the song at the Billboard Music Awards is one of my favorites ever. Years later, it is still covered by contestants on singing shows and praised by vocal coaches, proving its enduring power. With a proper rollout, Love on the Brain could have been a #1 smash. Gimme More by Britney Spears. Gimme More had everything a chart-topping single needs: an unforgettable hook, banging production, and a pop star returning after a turbulent period. The song's opening line, "It's Britney, bitch," became one of the most iconic intros in pop history, instantly cementing it as a comeback anthem. Musically, it was ahead of its time with this electro R&B sound that predicted the direction pop would take in the 2010s. It was the perfect storm, or it was supposed to be. But the moment it dropped, the world was fixated not on the music, but on Britney's personal struggles. Her 2007 MTV VMA performance of the song became mocked by the media and overshadowed everything else about the song. Instead of her comeback, the media narrative became about her meltdown. No televised follow-up, no live performances, no cohesive promotional campaign to remind people that Gimme More was a legitimate hit record. The song's undeniable quality got buried under the headlines. Even the music video was lackluster and didn't fit the direction of the song. Despite all that, Gimme More still managed to peak at #3 on the Billboard Hot 100, an incredible achievement for a single that was practically left to fend for itself. With a properly managed rollout and a strategic radio push, it could have easily reached #1. Today, Gimme More is regarded as one of Britney's most influential singles. It deserved this crown, but the world wasn't ready to give it its props. Sacrifice by The Weeknd. When Dawn FM arrived, The Weeknd delivered one of the most sonically cohesive albums of the decade, and Sacrifice was supposed to be his breakout. Built around a driving disco groove, the song felt like an evolution of the 80s synth-pop revival he perfected with Blinding Lights. Produced by Max Martin and Swedish House Mafia, Sacrifice was a shimmering dance floor confession about love, fame, and self-destruction. In every way, it was engineered to be a #1 single, but the rollout was strange. Sacrifice was released as a single, along with Dawn FM, with not a lot of major promotional build-up. The lead single, Take My Breath, did decent, but it wasn't the right song to start off that era. A stark contrast to the meticulously planned After Hours era. The Weeknd had already proven that he could dominate charts globally, and Sacrifice was supposed to continue that dominance. But it peaked at #11 on the Billboard Hot 100. In my opinion, it had the same chart potential as Blinding Lights, and could have easily been The Weeknd's next #1. Instead, it became one of his most underappreciated songs, critically acclaimed and beloved by fans, but commercially underperformed. In another timeline, it could have dominated radio and even boosted the performance of Dawn FM. Into You by Ariana Grande. When Ariana Grande dropped Into You as the second single from Dangerous Woman, it seemed destined for #1. The song had everything: an amazing production from Max Martin, an explosive chorus, and the kind of breathy vocal that only Ariana can pull off. It was perfectly crafted for radio dominance. Many critics called it the perfect song, an electrifying blend of tension and release that made it the quintessential mid-2010s dance pop hit. From the first time you hear it, it gets stuck in your head. But despite being one of the strongest singles of her career, Into You had a confusing confusing rollout. Republic Records pushed it to radio too late, while Ariana's team pivoted attention toward other singles like Side to Side. The music video, a cinematic desert romance, arrived weeks after the initial buzz had cooled, unable to capitalize on the momentum. It is still her most underrated hit. The label never gave it the all-out promotion it deserved. In the end, Into You peaked at number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100, a respectable number, but criminally low for such an undeniable banger. Over time, the song has become a cult favorite and is one of the most streamed songs from that album, now sitting on more than 1.7 billion streams on Spotify. It is definitely the Ariana single that should have topped the charts. It still remains a staple of her live shows, proof that sometimes the charts get it wrong. Cuff It by Beyonce. When Beyonce released Renaissance in 2022, she returned with an album built for the dance floor, a celebration of house music. Cuff It immediately stood out as one of the album's most accessible and infectious tracks. Built around disco guitars and irresistible hooks, the song was the kind of crossover moment that could have easily dominated radio. Yet, in true Beyonce fashion, the project didn't have a traditional rollout. Cuff It went viral organically. Fans turned it into a TikTok anthem months after its release. But by the time Columbia Records officially pushed it on radio, the viral moment had already peaked. The result was a strange disconnect, a song everyone knew, but one that never reached the commercial peak it deserved. Cuff It did eventually climb into the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100, but with a focused release strategy, it could have gone all the way. Ironically, the song embodied the same energy that made songs like Levitating or About Damn Time successful. Euphoric disco pop that transcends genre. In hindsight, the song's near miss shows how Beyonce's approach in the latter part of her career prioritizes delivering complete bodies of work rather than chasing Billboard. She didn't have a traditional campaign or an official music video for any of the songs on the album, but Cuff It could have easily been Beyonce's first solo #1 since Single Ladies. Instead, it remains one of those rare tracks that prove the song can be everywhere and still not sit at the top. Talking to the Moon by Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars's Talking to the Moon is one of the rare songs that found its audience long after its initial release. Originally appearing on his 2010 debut album Doo-Wops and Hooligans, the song wasn't pushed as a major single, overshadowed by hits like Just the Way You Are and Grenade. But among fans, it quietly became one of his most beloved deep cuts, a soulful emotional ballad showcasing Bruno's powerhouse vocals and classic songwriting. His cinematic melancholy and heartfelt lyrics could have made it a timeless #1 hit. Fast forward a decade to 2021, and Talking to the Moon exploded on TikTok and streaming platforms. A new generation rediscovered it, sending it surging up the Spotify global charts, now sitting on more than 1.8 billion Spotify streams. But once again, the label failed to seize the moment with a proper re-release or promotional push. Unlike tracks like Fleetwood Mac's Dreams, which received coordinated streaming and radio campaigns after going viral, Talking to the Moon was left to chart organically. Bruno Mars was already riding the success of Silk Sonic, making it the perfect time to spotlight the song's resurgence. But the moment passed without a strategic plan. Had Talking to the Moon been promoted as a standalone single during its viral peak with a music video, it could have easily climbed to #1. Adorn by Miguel. When Miguel released Adorn, it felt like lightning in a bottle, the kind of song that sounded instantly timeless. Built around a smooth blend of neo-soul and electronic sounds, it showcased Miguel's falsetto and incredible control, gave it a special feeling. Critically, the song was universally praised. It won a Grammy for Best R&B Song and became a modern classic in the genre. But despite all that, it only peaked at number 17 on the Billboard Hot 100. The issue wasn't just the music, it was the promotion. RCA's marketing strategy was oddly restrained, focusing mainly on R&B radio rather than pushing it across pop formats. While artists like The Weeknd crossed into the mainstream playlists a couple of years later, Adorn was never given that chance. With the right push, it could have easily climbed to the top. It had all the ingredients, but it lacked the momentum. In retrospect, Adorn wasn't just Miguel's signature hit. It was a missed moment for R&B's re-entry into the mainstream. It deserved to be #1, not just on R&B charts, but the Hot 100 too. Passionfruit by Drake. Few songs in Drake's catalog feel as effortlessly smooth as Passionfruit. Released as part of his 2017 project More Life, it had a chill tropical beat and Drake's smoothest vocal performance. It was a feel-good track that could dominate radio and streaming. It had all the qualities of a #1 hit, but despite its streaming dominance, it peaked only at number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100. The reason? More Life's rollout wasn't structured around traditional singles. No single from the album got its own music video, as Drake positioned it as a playlist, allowing every song to compete for attention without a clear focus. Passionfruit never got the radio campaign or music video it needed to break through fully, while One Dance and Controller benefited from global tropical pop momentum the year before. Passionfruit arrived with a quieter promotional push. The song is very successful on Spotify, now sitting on more than 2 billion streams, but it lacked a multi-platform push that could have turned it into a #1 smash. Had it been released as a standalone summer single, it could have easily become one of Drake's biggest chart toppers, even bigger than One Dance. Instead, it became a fan favorite that never reached its potential. Which songs that could have been #1 with better promotion did I miss? Tell me in the comments below.